welcome back. I'm Papa, and I am cooking for the hungry. Today we're going to be doing a recipe like I'm going to be making them for our paid subscribers. Want everybody to get an idea of what I'm going to be doing and how I'm going to do it. Today we're going to be making sausage cream gravy. It's just one of the cream gravies, and you'll use the same kind of recipe, either different meats or no meat at all, and possibly different milk, different than milk. So anyway, I'm going to cut open my roll of sausage and I'm going to get it going. In the meantime, I'm going to put up the ingredients for you to look at and write down, or take a picture, pause it and take a picture of it. And I'll be talking in the background about the ingredients, and then after that we'll get to cooking. Again, welcome, and always, if something worth doing, it's worth doing right. Welcome to Cooking for the Hungry. Okay, let's take a look at the ingredients now. You can either, at some point here, pause it and write down the ingredients, or take a screenshot, whatever you want to do. This is sausage cream gravy. I'm going to be using sausages, obviously, but I'm going to talk more about other meats and other ways to make your cream gravy. So I'm using 1 pound, 1 tube of mild sausage. You can buy some from the store that's fresh made. You can make your own sausage. There's a lot of ways you can get it. So then you want to have 3 tablespoons of cornstarch. You want it mixed up in 1/3 cup of milk ready to go. And you won't be using this until at the end to get it to the right thickness. Then you want to have 2 to 3 tablespoons of vegetable oil ready. Especially if you use a sausage where there's not going to be enough grease, then the vegetable oil or lard or tallow, whatever you want to add to the oil to give it more to mix in with the flour. And anyway, use 4 to 6 tablespoons of white flour to absorb the grease. You don't want to make it too pasty or dry. You want it about as much oil as you can soak into it, but still keep it kind of wet so that it can brown and get around on the meat real good. The other thing is that when you're using the white flour, if you're lactose intolerant, or you have problems with other things, a lot of things can be substituted here. The milk, the flour, you can use gluten-free flour. The starch is gluten-free. Cornstarch is gluten-free, and you can get some gluten-free flour and make this, so no reason for that to get in the way of you having some cream gravy. So you got the 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil, add to the grease. So you got 4 to 6 tablespoons of flour to absorb the grease. You're not only absorbing the grease, but you're helping it adhere to the meat. There's a chemical reaction that's going to take place here. So let's see, you want 5 to 6 cups of milk. I use 2% milk, but you can use 1%. Or see, people take soy milk. If you use soy milk, it won't take as much flour or excuse me, it won't take as much cornstarch to thicken up, and really probably a little less flour. Some people use whole milk, and again, it won't take as much stuff to thicken. You'll just have to kind of feel that out. I've also heard of people taking cream and mixing in with whole milk and making it really super rich. I don't particularly like it that way, but we've been using 2% milk for years. Then you want to use, I'd say, half a teaspoon of salt up to a teaspoon of salt. You're gonna have to feel that out. You know, the best way is to err on the side of caution. Put in a half a teaspoon, and if it don't seem salty enough, sprinkle a little bit on it when you get ready to eat it. And a quarter teaspoon of black pepper. I use a pepper mill, so I do about 4 turns on the pepper mill. Some people like a lot of pepper. You go right ahead. That's up to you. Just bear in mind certain things that you change in a recipe, it changes the way it tastes and the way it turns out. So don't forget that about any recipe. So that's pretty much it. If you have more questions about the ingredients, please get on the chat and ask some questions about it. Be glad to answer those. The way I'm doing things for the sausage gravy, the cream gravy, is pretty much the way I'm going to be doing it for the paid members. They're going to be seeing stuff like this every week. I'm going to introduce it, and I'm going to put the ingredients up and talk about the ingredients, and then I'm going to go about the business of showing how to do it, or how I do it. There's a lot of opinions out there about different recipes. All I can give you is my opinion and my experience. And most of my dishes have turned out very well, and people love to come back and eat here. So probably more than I want to cook. Anyway, so let's get right back to cooking, and let's join you over the stove.
Okay. Alright, we're back at the stove here. I got the meat kind of chopped up. You can see how it's chopped up pieces. We're getting that done. You don't want to cook it down where it's real brown. You just want to kind of draw the fat out of it, get the fat and the grease out of it. Because you need that attached to the flour. You'll see over here I got all my ingredients measured out and ready to go. That's really detrimental to good cooking. You'll see that in a lot of places. Getting those ingredients out ahead of time will save you time, and you don't want to slow down when you're cooking. Try to grab things and measure them out. Time is critical sometimes. And by the way, I got my hat back on. Yeah. Papa's got his hat on. I like hats. So anyway, let's talk about meat for a minute. I'm making sausage gravy, obviously, but there's a lot of people who can't eat pork, won't eat pork, or whatever. You can make it with hamburger. You take a pound of hamburger. My wife loves hamburger gravy. She really likes that. And you make bacon gravy, which has actually turned out to be kind of a milder meat gravy. You only want to keep about 4 tablespoons of fat in there in the skillet to drain some of that out. Use about a half a pound of bacon if you do that. And you can make country gravy with no meat in it at all. Now I've seen people use deer meat, kind of up to your own imagination. Yeah. You start talking about milk. I told you about the different 2% and whole and stuff like that. But my first son, He was allergic to milk, but he really liked gravy, and he wanted it so bad he snuck it a couple of times and made him sick. So I started making him gravy made out of his soy milk that he drank, and it turned out pretty good. So you can use soy milk too. I think there's even almond milk out there. I haven't tried to make it with that, but it probably work. I just about got it where I want it. Stove been heating up for the biscuits. I kind of cheated. I'm making this with store-bought biscuits. But that's because I'm going to show on another show my biscuit rolls. They're really good. And you can literally use them for biscuits or rolls. They're good for either one. And that'll be a whole nother program. Alright. Looks like we got this pretty much ready. I don't know if you can see the sizzling in there. There's a little grease in there. So I'm probably only going to put a couple of tablespoons of oil in here. 1, 2. That's good enough, I think. Mix that around good. The oil, vegetable oil, will mix in with the sausage flavor, and it just kind of adds to the flavor. It draws out the sausage flavor. I don't know if you see this or not, but that's just sizzling down there. You see that? Okay. What we're going to do next is put some flour in. And what I do is just kind of sprinkle a little at a time, mix it around, and see if it's at the, like I like it. And it starts sizzling even more. That flour's in there. The flour has some moisture. No matter what you use flour in, the weather will make a difference on how that flour acts. The humidity and the temperature inside your house, we keep ours pretty constant, so it's really not too much of an issue. But when you got a real humid day, it'll affect it, no seem no matter what. Spread that around a little bit, let that flour brown a little bit, because I don't want this to be white gravy. I want it to be a little on the tan side. So you brown the flour a little bit. Alright. Now, before I put the milk in, throw some salt in here. There you go. Fun, fun, fun. Cooking good. You got all this stuff smelling in the house. People get hungry before they even get it done. They're ready to eat. I've had the kids come around looking around going, okay, I'm ready, but I'm not, so they have to wait. Anything worth doing is worth doing right. So if it takes a little more time, it takes a little more time. And I'll tell you something here, at my house there's just 2 of us, me and my wife. My kids are all grown up. So we make a lot of extra. And the reason we do that for is because there are days when we don't feel like cooking, or we don't have time to cook. Then you can decide what you want in the morning, pull it out of the freezer because you had extra, and it makes life a little easier. Alright. See how that says? Look at that underneath it. You see that oil and grease sizzling? It's kind of brown now. And right about this time is when I stick my biscuits in the oven. I'm going to go ahead and do that now. There we go. Biscuits are in the oven. That's looking real good. I think we're going to go ahead and add a little more flour to it. The more flour you can get adhered into it, it keeps you from having to put so much cornstarch, because the flour is really what makes it creamy. You know, the milk obviously, but the flour helps it be real creamy, so I like to have enough flour in there. And what happens is, I'm going to put the milk in here, and it's going to start heating up the milk, and the flour will start coming out of the oil, the grease, and it will mix into the milk, and then it swells and absorbs some more of that grease, but you'll have a little film on top, and I'll show you. It's pretty obvious, but that'll go away when I add a little bit of cornstarch. Mixed in milk. It's ready to go. Mixed in milk right here. I'm going to add just a little bit of pepper. Remember I told you 4 turns? 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm done with that. Some people, like I said, like a lot more pepper. Put it in however you want. Okay. Now it's really sizzling good. You can see that. Alright. Now I'm going to pour my milk in. And I made a mess. I always do. I'm a big messer. Got a little down the stove and on the floor. We'll get that cleaned up in a minute. Now I'm going to leave this set for just a second, but one thing that I will not do is leave this gravy. Once it starts getting warm, I will keep stirring it. And that will help you keep from having lumpy gravy. Nobody likes lumpy gravy. And that's the stove talking. While that heats up for a second, I'm going to wipe a little bit of this off. Let's see. Make a little bit of a mess here. Alright. Wipe that off a little bit. Hot now, it's starting to heat up. I had it on medium heat. I'm going to turn it up on medium high. We want to get that milk heated pretty quick, and then we'll turn it down. Make sure I keep this stuff stirred up. You can see it's starting to get a film on top. You see that film on top? Kind of a yellow look. That's the grease coming out of the flour. Once we get it to boiling point, the flour will actually absorb some of that back in. Stop for just a few few seconds. Let it heat up a little bit. Getting closer than you think. The small pieces mix in real well. I'm big on protein. My wife and I have been on a protein diet for a lot of protein, vegetables and stuff, and cutting down our carbs. Fortunately, this one has some carbs in it with the biscuits and stuff. But it's good. We don't make it very often, maybe once every 2 months or so. We don't eat it a lot. We make sure there's a pound of meat in there. That gets some protein. That's a half pound of protein. Cook down. There's some protein in the milk. This is going to be good, folks. I can tell by looking at it. It's heating up. I'm starting to see a little steam. Bear with me here. Just about ready to boiling. We're close. I don't want to shut off and come back, so I want you to see what this looks like as we go along. You get oil film up on top still. Now, if I'm making country gravy with no meat, I will add a little more pepper because the sausage here has some pepper in it. And so anything else like beef gravy, made with hamburger, or just regular country gravy, you're going to need a little more salt and a little more pepper. But don't overdo it. People rarely like red-eye gravy. And kids really don't. If you're making for children, you want to take it easy on that stuff. Don't stop stirring it too long. But I want the scorch to the bottom and I don't want it to get lumpy. Just keep going all around the area of the bottom. When I stir it with my cooker. This is my favorite tool to cook with. So if you think going out to eat at a fast food restaurant and the gravy they make is good, you ain't had nothing yet. This is the stuff. Cooking is a lot of fun. You start learning how to do certain things, different methods. You can take those methods and make a lot of different dishes. What you're looking at is a chemical reaction happening. It goes one way and then it comes back the other way. I add this I'll add some cornstarch in here, that'll swell, and then we'll make it thick. Good stuff. Okay, it's steaming pretty good, it should start boiling. They say watch pot doesn't boil, but that's not true, you just gotta watch long enough. Starting to thicken a little bit. Gotta keep moving that flour around. That's what sticks to the bottom and scorches along with the milk. And that's what starts lumping up if you don't stir it. I'm waiting to see a few bubbles. I hear it. And there it is. I'm starting to see it. You see it bubbling up? Now stop. Keep on stirring. You see the yellow is starting, some of the yellow is starting to disappear because the flour is drawing it back in. Getting pretty close to adding a little cornstarch, because once it comes to a boil, if it's not thick enough, which it usually isn't for me, I don't like to put too much of anything. I don't like to put too much flour, and I don't like to put too much cornstarch. With cornstarch, you just use what you need. Now it's really going. I gotta turn it down now. Yep, time to turn it down. Settled on me a little bit. Yeah, it's settled down on the bottom, so I'm trying to get it stirred back in. I'm getting it. How about that? Stirring two things at the same time. There you go. It's settled down a little bit because I don't want to scorch it. A good bit of that yellow's gone, if you can see. A good bit of it's gone. This will take care of most of the rest of it. But if it ain't got no grease and oil, it don't have no flavor. So let's just pour a little bit in this. See how it does. Yep, it's starting to thicken. Bit more. I'm not going to use all of this, I'm telling you. That's okay, I'd rather waste a little bit of that and get it right. Well, it's thicker enough. Let's give it a little bit more. How are we doing here? Still a little soupy. I may use some more yet. Get a little more there. Get the sides off of there. middle. Make sure things get absorbed kind of evenly here. And then stir it. Oh, made a little mess again. That's alright. Cooking ain't no fun if you don't make a little bit of a mess. Okay, a little bit more. It's taking more than I thought. The humidity is pretty high. It's cold here. It'll get even colder next couple days. But we do a little cooking to keep the place nice and toasty. Yeah. Well, that's it, folks. It's green gravy. It looks pretty good, don't it? Let's see. One more good look at that. How that look? That's perfect. Once it cools off just a little bit, it'll thicken on up a little. I'll turn the stove off. And we have made our gravy, folks. I hope you enjoyed it. I appreciate you tuning in to Cooking for the Hungry. And our next show will be on another recipe on my paid subscribers. Don't cost much. Tune in, subscribe, get a free one, get a free subscription so you see some stuff, because I'm going to have some stuff for my free subscribers. I'm also going to have some good recipes that you won't be able to see unless you subscribe. Again, thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.